All right, let's talk real briefly here about the quantum physics that are present in the economy and how a lot of even things that we say in the economy or economic terms when dealing with economy and commerce. Yeah. A lot of those terms, point towards much more profound things. You connect the dots, it's all for a reason. All right. But one of the things I want to talk about is superpositioning. And the idea is that, obviously, in superpositioning, an atom or particle exists in multiple states, alluding to the thought of multiple outcomes, multiple dimensions, multiple existences, realities, right? Until a certain waveform collapses it all into one. Now, what is this one? Some may ask, well, the one is you. You decide, each and every single one of you, individually and collectively, what that position is for you in your life economically, what that position is for you spiritually, what that position is for you emotionally, psychologically, intellectually. All right. And the reason I say economy, we talk about and we mention, and I mentioned the economy as well, is because there's a lot of things that, happen in commerce and even with cases of litigating where certain rights and freedoms are disrespected from bullies who get into certain positions. But, anyways, these things and everything that's behind it, all the laws, the protections that every human being has that is already divinely so and also written, they have terms and phrases that allude to things that are very spiritual. Okay. And they all have a spiritual context. Everything has a spiritual context. Okay. Everything is really spiritual. Yes, it is. And I'll say it again. Everything is spiritual. Okay. Now we have something called false positive. Okay. And false positives can, for example, let's say, I'll give you an example of a false positive. Someone can say, "Oh no, we didn't disrespect your human rights and blah blah blah," or whatever the case may be, and that would be a false positive when you know there was a clear disrespect. Okay, so a false positive. Okay, how do we get rid of false positives? Obviously, you, the observer, you have to do your administrative work in such a case. For example, like the one I just mentioned. All right. So when those of you who are dealing with bullies, okay, and experiences and interactions with bullies and they pass and they go, all right, the outcome is dependent upon you. All right. Equity is for all. Therefore, everybody can win. Therefore, you have the potential to win and everybody will still win while respecting the freedom for all. But also, you have the potential to teach bullies that, hey, this is not a place for you to come and do that. Nor am I or any of us your dumpster for that. So either keep up or shut up, as I say. Keep up with the program because there's too much to do, y'all. You let them know there's too much to do, and if these energies and these entities keep trying to have found, for many of you, they have found hosts to try you a certain way. Well, listen, sometimes you gotta slap those hosts right where they are, and then you also have to do the quantum work too. The quantum work or the internal work, the spiritual work. That's the most important part as well, actually, because that's where you can put yourself in your superposition, okay, in your absolute positive state and natural state, okay, your S state, even. Get it? You see? Anyways, now absolute positives and self positioning could be seen as a fully grounded, clear, and true states of being or identity, not contingent on external labels or errors from bullies. For example, self positioning is an absolute positive. As an absolute positive means that we're constantly choosing our own path, our own truths, our own reality. We're not letting, you don't let bullies or any kind of bully decide for you what your reality is. At the end of the day, everyone's doing different forms of commerce. No one's obligated to commerce with anybody. Okay? But if certain things, for example, in the economy are made for all people to enjoy, and we have a bully that wants to go in there, and someone wants to be a bully, well, you know what? Teach the bully, hey, no, 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 no. And I encourage other people to stand up to bullies. Learn, okay? Learn and freaking read, because guess what? Everyone has more freedom and more rights, and they can even imagine themselves in more abundance than they imagine themselves. Equity really is for all. All right. You have to stand firm in your authenticity, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, regardless of what people think. Regardless. All right. Now I do want to read something here. Okay. I'm gonna give you a little explanation that the Chat GPT combined with the knowledge I am feeding it. Okay, it's a really cool model. I really do like how it likes to put things together, and it can adapt when you update it, obviously. Because it can't update itself as much as you, or as quick as you update yourself. Anyways, quantum economics, a new paradigm. In quantum economics, what we just talked about, some people call it quantum economics because you see certain fluctuations and patterns, and things correlate in so many levels. Again, it's all spiritual. Quantum economics is a fresh way to understand economics and law and human behavior by borrowing ideas from quantum physics. Multiple possibilities. Number one, these are one of those examples. Like a quantum particle existing in many states at once, superposition, economic and social systems hold many potential outcomes simultaneously until a decision or action collapses them into one reality. This is basically saying, for example, just as some people seem to live in the magic and no one wants to touch them and bullies don't and stay away from them and they live in abundance, well, that's because they decided to collapse all possibilities and position themselves internally in this position, mind frame, heart frame, and spiritual frame, battle frame, war frame, whatever, that they needed to be in order to have that. And sometimes people go through these things so they can recall and remind themselves of their power, so we can help others realize what your power is, our power is individually and collectively. Okay, everyone, freedom is your birthright. Okay. So, the observer effect. Just as measuring a quantum system affects its state, the act of observing, deciding, or enforcing rules changes the economic or legal environment. Your choices and awareness shape outcomes, not just react to them. People think that the government just makes decisions just off of that. No, there are lots of people involved. I repeat, there are people involved. There are people involved who have or think a certain way. And some of these people can be sometimes pawns for, maybe have been pawns for stupidity, ignorance, all right, or limitations, fear, worry, scarcity, overproduction. Mm-hmm. So just because those people get together and make decisions doesn't mean that you, a person, people, aren't part of that as well. Now, people say, yeah, that's why we vote. Well, it's got more to do than voting. It's understanding your sovereignty, and not to be confused with sovereign citizen, the oxymoron. Okay? You need to understand who you are, because those people understand who they are and who we are. But some of you don't. Some of you don't. You don't live as if you know who you are. You live, when I hear some people speak, like I heard someone today, and I told them what I'm working on, and they're like, oh, that's not going to work. And I laugh. I'm like, ha, yeah, right. Ha, ha, three laughs. Like, why are you laughing? I'm like, it's like, I think they even got offended, you know? And I'm like, you bring the voice of doubt to me. Why would I not laugh? All right? Why would I not laugh if you bring the voice of doubt? Are you kidding me? I already handle my own doubts and I already work with that. You think I'm going to allow an external body or an external being to come and bring another voice of doubt into the things that I already know exist? Nah. Okay, so again, your choices and awareness, all right, shape your outcomes, not just react to them. Uncertainty and probability. Economic forecasts and legal judgments are not fixed certainties, but probabilities. That's why some things say this is current or in citation. There's the current citation. When you go read up the U.S. codes, you'll find that certain things are moved because some of those things could be currently being tried or tested. So there is a lot of energy work in these things too, believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen. A lot of energy maps and dots that you could point the energy to when you look at certain people and organizations and what they're doing and not doing and where they could be better. Dynamic interconnected systems. Economies and societies are complex, nonlinear systems where feedback loops, intentions, and consciousness interact, much like quantum entanglement links particles across space. So it says, by embracing quantum economics, we recognize the power of conscious choice and awareness in shaping reality. And ultimately, that's what it is. And because we have that power, we can also decide how we create an economy, how we treat money. And like I've said, you should definitely join the mega project because aside from the changes in the space of finance already happening, we're already dealing with evolution in how we treat finance in our economies. Oh my God, thank you so much. Thank you. Ah, thank you. So we are already dealing with these changes anyways. So you're either going to be a part of the change or you're just going to sit back and let it pass by you. And that's okay too, because that's important as well. Either way, be an active creator in your process. If you get bullied on, don't, if someone tries you, all right, especially under color of law, all right, learn to recognize that you need to go towards the individual puppet, okay? Go towards the individual puppet. Separate the individual puppet from the place they're working at, because you have to know that you have to do that separation. Okay, you have to make that distinction. Anyways, y'all, that's what I have for y'all, and I hope that helps as well. Now, like I said before, join the mega project. Join the mega project. Yeah, peace. And if you don't know what a mega project is, you better go check my previous videos, and I'll start linking up an article I helped a friend write as well. Peace.